So, hello and welcome back to Binge Retro. This is a series of videos where I talk about the Evercade system. And what I usually do is I pick a cartridge, I talk about my top 3 games, I do a mini review, but what I really want to talk about is what do I really want to see for this wonderful system. Because the Evercade is gaining quite heavily in popularity. There's different versions to play. There's also the Evercade Versus or VS, which you play on TVs. You also have the Super Pockets, which have built-in games and are sold quite cheaply. And then you can add cartridges to all of these. And the cartridges are very interesting right now. They're all over the place. You have the arcade cartridges, the console cartridges, you have the home computer ones, and you have some indie cartridges as well. The sky is the limit on the Evercade right now, and it's just getting better and better. But what I really want to talk about is what do I really want to see? I usually don't have an overall expectation of what I want to see on the Evercade. What I really love about it is every other month I get these kind of couple of cartridges in my mailbox, and I test them out. I have a lot of fun with them. Sometimes I like them, sometimes I don't. There's different games, it's surfacing games I've never seen before. It's giving me access to really cool games like the Capcom games that I just love to have access to. I can play them on the go, I can play them on my TV. It's wonderful. But having a strong opinion on what I want to see, I haven't really thought about it before, but in this video I'm gonna do it. When I started thinking about it, I have a kind of a strong wish list of what I want to see. So let's get into that. What I've heard many Evercade fans talk about is that the system needs to have more RPGs or role-playing games, specifically JRPGs or Japanese role-playing games. And you could go down the easy route and say, oh, we need Squaresoft, which would be Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, but I want to dig a little deeper. I want to find something that is a little more obscure. Well, they're not super obscure, but a little more obscure. And that is the Japanese developer Game Arts. And Game Arts are best known as the producers of JRPG series called Lunar and Grandia, as well as a few very interesting titles that are kind of spread out on different systems. Lunar and Grandia, both much loved games, impressive visuals, and just great quality all around. Some of the versions have FMV versions, like the Sega CD versions, so it would be perfect for a Giga card. Lunar, Grandia, fantastic. But then Game Arts has some other interesting things in there. They have a very strange platformer for the NES and for older systems as well called Dexter. I'm not a huge fan of that game, but what I really love is their 90s output. And we have one of the best platformers on the Sega Mega Drive or Sega Genesis called Alicia Dragoon, a game that I highly recommend and would love to see on the Evercade. And then we have some shooters. We have Sylphid, a very interesting Sega CD game, a little flawed, but a very interesting game with a fantastic visuals, polygons all over the place. And then we have Gun Griffon, a mecha game for the Sega Saturn. And maybe, if Evercade does Game Arts, maybe they'll start doing the Sega Saturn, which would be amazing as well. I mean, if the PS, then why not Saturn as well? So yeah, Game Arts, a very interesting company and something I would really love to see on the Evercade. And fourth on my wish list is Technosoft. So I grew up with the Mega Drive, and I've already made my own personal top 10 Mega Drive video of the best Mega Drive games that I grew up with. And actually, 3 of the games on my top 10 list are Technosoft games. And they are also early games for the system. Usually they were around 1989 or 1990. And in my opinion, these games are all fantastic. The best one, probably Thunder Force. I am really surprised that this ended up on my doorstep back in Iceland, but I'm happy that it did. And today I feel this is the best 16-bit era shoot 'em up by far. And it's just a huge labor of love. The music is, in my opinion, probably the best on the Mega Drive, even better than Streets of Rage 2. Technical effects, parallax scrolling, this game looks, feels, plays, sounds amazing. And then you have Devil's Crush or Devil's Crush, Dragon's Fury, whatever it's called in different regions. And this is where my love of pinball started. A really, really fantastic pinball game. I used to play it all the time back in the day. And Herzog Zwei. Oh my god, this game was a revelation. This game was always available in all trade-in stores everywhere, because it just didn't look kinda cool on the cover, it looked kinda boring, but actually it's a fantastic game. It's a top 10 Mega Drive game for me. And what it is it's a proper real-time strategy game. Well before other real-time strategy games. I think it's probably the first. I don't know the history of it, but it's probably at least one of the first. It's super fast and exciting, capturing bases, you're a crazy anime transformer. And I mean, Technosoft, they made great Mega Drive games. They also went on and did some of their series, especially Thunder Force on other systems, but Technosoft, absolutely fantastic. You also have Elemental Master, which is one of the best maps for the Mega Drive, and you have Starblade. Yeah, Technosoft, it really needs to be on the Evercade in my opinion. And I really couldn't have done this video without picking one of the big ones. Third on my list, it's Konami. Evercade already has Taito and Capcom and some of the big ones in different forms, but Konami, wow, there's a treasure trove of things to go from here. There's the early arcade titles. I mean, Konami was a fantastic arcade developer all the way back to 1977. You have all the early arcade games, Track and Field, Frogger, Scramble, Gyrus, Time Pilot, Twinbee, Yar Kung Fu, Mikey. I mean, and this is just the early arcade titles of Konami. And then later on you have the fantastic beat 'em ups. I mean, sure, they're licensed, maybe not realistic for the Evercade, but TMNT, Asterix, X-Men, Simpsons. I mean, it's fantastic. And then other arcade games, Gradius, Parodius, and you have games on systems, older systems like Contra, Castlevania, Metal Gear, PS1 games like Silent Hill, obscure Mega Drive games like Zombies Ate My Neighbors, Axley on the Super Nintendo, Legend of the Mystical Ninja, Sunset Ride. I mean, I can just go on and on. Rocket Knight Adventures, TMNT, the Hyperstone Heist, and a really big win if Evercade would be able to do it, a translated Snatcher. How would that be? I mean, that would be one of the biggest wins that Evercade could ever have. Snatcher, a game that was really never released in the West, made by Hideo Kojima, maker of Metal Gear Solid games, and a fantastic game all around. Looks fantastic. It's an adventure kind of game. That would be amazing to get Snatcher. Yeah, Konami, third on my list. And second on my list, probably no surprise if people have looked at the rest of the videos on my YouTube channel, I'm actually asking for a system. And I'm asking for the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. I grew up with the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. I do a lot of videos on the Sinclair ZX Spectrum on my YouTube channel. It was the only computer I owned between 1982 and 1992 back in Iceland. It's the biggest microcomputer in many European countries, from the UK, Spain, Portugal, Poland, and Iceland. And it was a fantastic machine. If you loved or grew up with the Commodore 64, this is a contemporary. Sinclair ZX Spectrum had more detailed and nicer graphics. Well, in a way, it had the color class. It had worse music than the C64. It had, in many cases, kind of better scrolling. It's a unique system all around, and I think everyone should experience it because it was just so popular. So many games made for it. It was a huge thing. And some unique titles, like the Ultimate games. You have a Tic Tac, you have Jetpack, all these kind of games. Then you have the big early titles like Jet Set Willy, Manic Miner. Fantastic, unique games for the system. Great Escape. It was just, there's so many games. I can't really count all of them. And it's just a system that I want more people to experience, people who maybe did not live in those countries growing up. But for those that did, this was the biggest thing. I mean, everyone owned a single-series Spectrum. It was cheap, but it had all these fantastic games. So that's my second on the list, the whole of the single-series Spectrum system. We already have the C64. Please, please, please. Also, let's add the Series Spectrum. And finally on my list, I don't know if it's realistic or not, but my number one request 100% is Cave. And if you don't know Cave, we already have Toaplan on the Evercade, and it's some of the best cartridges on the Evercade. But what actually happened after Toaplan? Well, in 1994, from the ruins of Toaplan, Cave was formed. And it's arguably the best shmup or shoot 'em up developer of all time. And what is interesting about this company is that it has a rabid following, but some of those games are actually really hard to get. And if you are a Cave fan, it's hard to get some of them. There are expensive imports of modern versions of them, or people just maybe to buy arcade boards. And what these games are, they are bullet hell shooters, but usually have a lot of modes that suit many different skill levels and actually quite accessible games, to be honest. Some of them are a little bit more hardcore, like Ketsui or Espeluta, but many of them just are really fun for everyone, like Dodonpachi, Mushihime-sama, Pro Gear. We already have Capcom, and Capcom actually published Pro Gear, so it would be really nice to get Pro Gear. And we have later games like Death Smiles, and yeah, it's a fantastic developer. I cannot think of a single game that they've made that is not like good to fantastic, and it would be amazing to get Cave for the Evercade. I would really jump for joy if they would announce it. So yeah, that's my number one. So, thanks for showing up for this Evercade video. I hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed making it. I hope some of you agree with me. I hope maybe some of you disagree with me. But what I really want to see in the comments is your wishlist. Developers, publishers, systems, games, whatever. And maybe if this video becomes successful, maybe I'll do more of them. But yeah, I am a big fan of the games that I requested for the Evercade. Some of them, most of them I don't own, but some of them I do. I own this one, Alicia Dragoon. Fantastic platformer for the Mega Drive or the Genesis. I own Dragon's Fury or Devil's Crush, Devil's Crush, whatever it's called. Fantastic game, and I own the best, in my opinion, 16-bit shmup there is, Thunder Force 4 or Lightning Force as it's called in the US. And I also own a few of these. These are Cave games that I've imported. Fantastic versions of these games. This is Esprade, this is the best Dodonpachi. Fantastic versions from M2 Shot Triggers, which I highly recommend. I would love to see these on Evercade. I don't know if Evercade can do these versions, but wow, that would be amazing. But yeah, thanks for showing up for this video. Hope to see you again.